Happy Wednesday, y'all. Slide won't do it for me. Ambient Wednesday. I'm here for it. Sam is correct. If you want to hear this in full glorious stereo, head over to my YouTube channel. I almost didn't stream on YouTube tonight because I was tired. But I'm here. I am here. Nice. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Happy frickin' Wednesday, y'all. I'm Jimmy. We do this every single Wednesday, and I call it Wednesday Night Live. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. It is Wednesday, the 31st, the end of July, the end of the month of freedom, if you're an American. I'm joined here with a Stanley Cup filled with an adult beverage and an MJT Telecaster that I found on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. Over on YouTube, Tool 5150 says too ambient but good. Your name says Tool 5150, which means you're a EVH fan, which is awesome. And this is not for you. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Pastodon EV says pedals. I'm using, so for that I was using the Meris LVX, the Eventide H90, and the Meris Mercury X. The like the pitch up and down stuff is my JRig pitch glitch preset. I'm using my Gravity Big preset and my kind of stereo ping pong delay on the H90. That's it. Sorry, I was in the zone, so I missed some comments. Yeah, Sam Jones said, just jumped in, didn't know it was Ambient Wednesday. Guess I'm just in that mood. Scott.Vin said, recommended mono or stereo vibrato. Honestly, mono's fine. I use the H90 for it, which is obviously a stereo pedal, but I'm really just doing mono vibrato. Got a lot to talk about. Quite a few things happened in recent times. This is my vibrato sound on the H90. That's it. Oh, sorry, y'all. It's been a long day. Sorry, I'm going through questions. Mallory Guitars said, what guitar? Yeah, so it's an MJT Telecaster. Got it for a steal, and honestly, that's the only reason why I got it. It's kind of become my project guitar all of a sudden, and there's a lot to do. And actually, I'm late on the video tonight because of just how much freaking time I spent today on this guitar. Oh, Justin Muncie joined. Hey, Justin, I've been a big fan of your channel for a long time, so thanks for hopping in. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I did quite a bit of work on this guitar. So okay, for first things first, it's an MJT body with a Mexican neck. A few things right off the bat that I did was I checked the wiring. The wiring was kind of wonky, and honestly, it's still pretty wonky. Like the tone knob isn't working. Whatever, I'll fix that eventually. But who needs tone? Turn it off. Turn it up all the way. Even though I was literally just doing that. So it has a Bigsby, has Wilkinson, has a Wilkinson bridge. I replaced the saddles with Godo compensated saddles. It had compensated saddles, but the guy who I got it from looks like he did some work with it, and like there was like some chunks out of it. So I was like, forget it. I'm just gonna replace it. Anyway, so let's see what else after that. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I did that with the saddles. Replaced that. Sorry, my microphone is a little lower. After that, I replaced the tuners. The tuners were the Fender's vintage locking style tuners, and they are atrocious. You have to like press down with like a penny or something like that and turn it to lock it. No, thank you. So I just found some, I found some like very, very Temu level Chinese made locking style, Godo style tuners. And I mean, they work. Went in like a breeze, no issue. Also spent some time on this guitar doing like neck relief stuff with these little gauges and all. I mean, got it playing pretty dang good. Like I said, it's a project guitar, and I paid project guitar price for it. So one of the things I'm actually considering doing is maybe just outright replacing the bridge with like a Tune-o-matic or something like that. I don't know. I'm open to anything and whatever. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So let's talk about the goings-ons of my rig over the last 2 weeks. Zach Little says, your videos are the reason I bought my three Pickup Les Paul Custom for worship. Hell yeah, brother. That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. Oh, so Lopez had put Lindy Freeman pickups in there. These actually have Seymour Duncan Seth Lovers in them. Sound great. They sound awesome. I like how they sound. So I'm gonna keep them in there until I feel otherwise. Yeah, killer sounding pickups. If you're unfamiliar, Seth Lover pickups from Seymour Duncan are just period specific PAFs, but like as if they were brand new. So they're unpotted, which means they are noisy. It's all that. Which also means they're very sensitive. Yeah. It also had 9s on it, Elixir 9s, and I am not a fan of Elixir 9s. I don't mind Elixir. I actually have Elixirs on my Les Paul Custom because that's what was on it when I got it last year, and the strings are still great. The strings are still great, so I don't mind it. It's a neat guitar. It's a fun guitar. The Bigsby is a B5. It honestly kind of looks like the guy put it in a little off. You can kind of see the angles are kind of weird there. So, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what I'll do? Ray Butts and Seth Lover combined to make the Butler the Butt Lover pickups. Wow. That sparkles wonderful. Yeah, it is. The pickups, so the pictures I saw on Marketplace, it looked okay, but definitely in person, it's got the vibe, man. It's got the vibe. It's a cool guitar. We'll see kind of what I end up doing with it. It's been a long time since I've used a guitar that had a Bigsby. And so dealing with tuning stability and all that kind of stuff it's just the part of the game now. So we'll see. I got a really great guitar tech up here, so. I am running through the Quad Cortex today. I'm using my Matchless Clubman. Actually, I'm not. Hold on a second. I'm actually using, what's his name? The Tone Shepherd's Matchless Clubman, which actually shouldn't be. I still have no idea what the heck I'm doing with the Quad Cortex, honestly. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and switch back to mine. Give me a second. I'm just going to do the Clubman. And going to do the... What's it called? Oh my gosh. Wrong one. Dual Citizen. Just like, what's his name? Sorry, y'all. This is so boring right now. I am still learning the Quad Cortex. Using my Matchless Clubman and the Dual Citizen. Some of y'all didn't know that I had some Quad Cortex captures. I got them. They're not for sale, though, because that ish is free. Shoot me a DM or just find me on... Sorry, I was just getting levels again. Justin Muncie said, "Do you see yourself going full quad cortex in the future, or sticking to the board and amps?" Oh, sticking to the board and amps for sure. Jamuel, welcome to Wednesday Night Live, bro. This is the first one you've been on in a while. Yeah. So Justin, so the reason I have the quad cortex is because a friend is letting me borrow it. That's really it. I am very happy with my amps. With my assortment of amps, I have a third power dual Citizen, have a matchless Clubman, got a 66 Fender Bassman, and a 91 AC30. I'm super happy with those amps. They're great. Yeah, so honestly, I'm just kind of using it for when I go live on a Wednesday night. That's pretty much it. If I'm recording, doing session work, I always bring my amps out. Whether that's me setting them up upstairs in my setting them up in the garage with mics, or using my isolation cabinet here. I pretty much always use my amps if I'm recording. And then live, I mean, I'm not necessarily I wouldn't say I'm a gigging musician necessarily, just because of stage of life and all. But I am anywhere I play, I just always bring my amps. And honestly, if I'm gonna play anywhere, I'm probably just gonna bring my Bassman because it's the lightest amp and I have a row case for it. So. Yeah, but in the meanwhile, I figured it would be nice to, provide some free stuff for people, I like the quad cortex. I haven't really done anything else besides just capture amps. So yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of clipping here. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I've had the Clubman for, well, on and off. I've had the Clubman for a long time, basically since around 2009. Sold it shortly after I got married and eventually got it back. So that's one of those amps that's like never going away. It's kind of like I'm nostalgic about how I felt when I first got it, and how I used it and when I used it. So it's like, that's just an amp that's gonna stay forever in my my rotation of stuff. Lately at church, I've been using the 90s AC30 and the Clubman, and it's a great combo. Yeah, super happy with it. Super happy with it. So let's talk about my board, my rig. I'm not quite at the point to where I have like extra cameras set up for that kind of stuff. But basically, I pulled off the PBC. So remember a few months ago, I was like, I'm going to pull the PBC off. I'm just going to go MIDI free. And I was like, that's terrible. I did that for one weekend and I just couldn't do it. So this was my response to that kind of reoccurring ambition to want to see if I can do it, see if it will, if I can find a workflow that makes sense. And so I landed on the Morningstar MC6 Pro. And currently, how I'm using it is I'm currently using it with 3 banks. So if you're familiar with the Morningstar stuff, they operate within a structure that involves banks and presets. Each bank can send out a whole assortment of MIDI messages. Each preset can also send out a whole assortment of MIDI messages. When I first got it, I was using banks as songs. So I would create a handful of presets for insert song. Insert song Holy Forever or What a Beautiful Name or whatever. And then I would kind of pull them into the set list as it were and go from there. That was just as limiting as how I was using the PBC before. Like, okay, I say limiting. I don't mean it in like a negative way. The structure of the PBC is awesome, and I love it. And the structure that I created here with the Morningstar was also great too. But the reason why I had moved away, or I say moved away, the PBC is still like literally over there, like 3 feet away on my ISO cab. The reason why I wanted to try something else was because basically for a while there, I had MIDI clock being sent to my pedals, and I was basically using the PBC as kind of a loop switcher to like turn drive pedals on and off for the most part. And so I was like, well, that seems a bit over the top for the way I was trying to run it. So I was like, well, let me see what I can do with just something that's just going to be MIDI controlled. So the way I have it right now is I have 3 banks. Each bank operates like a kind of like a master control for something. So so I have like my general purpose home bank, which literally is just an empty thing, just so it can take me immediately to my MIDI control and my set list. So I have basically just home, MIDI control, and set list. MIDI control is exactly what it sounds like. It is just program change PC up and down for the LVX, the Mercury X, and the H90. In addition to that, within that bank, I also added a presets thing. So, like, for instance, I can press dotted eighth gravity. It automatically turns off the H90 and turns on my gravity 1 and my dotted eighth delay. Cool. I have, eighth note gravity. Which is the same sound with just an eighth note delay instead of a dotted eighth delay. Right. I have dotted eighth gravity plus, which is dotted eighth gravity with my second tier of gravity, so it's a little bit more ambient in terms of the reverb. All right, so dotted eighth gravity, more delay forward, dotted eighth gravity plus, more reverb forward. Kind of a standard form for how people would use it. After that, then I have Pong swell, which is my gravity 3, my JRig Digipong, and then a stereo ping pong delay on the H90. That was the sound y'all heard at the very, very beginning. All right, pretty straightforward. I'm gonna turn the Mercury X off. It's this, right? So the H90 is doing, so the LVX is doing that. It's a ping pong delay with that's kind of slowly coming inward. Then the H90 is just doing a standard like quarter and eighth note. All right, and then of course the gravity is doing ultra big reverb. After that, I have an additional page for more like modulation heavy effects. So like tremolo verb, which is just a eighth note delay, spring reverb, and then my dual stereo tremolo. octave pong, which is basically ping pong delay, small gravity, and then an octave sound. Right? That would be like single note lead lines. You get the idea. After that, we have chorus, which is just a dotted eighth delay, no reverb, and then my tri-stereo chorus. After that, we have my vibrato sound, which is gravity 1, J reg dotted eighth, and then the vibrato. Right. Then the chorus pitch glitch because you gotta. Okay, so that is my MIDI control page. In addition to that, I then also have a set list page, right? I have a set list page, which basically just has places for 8 songs within the presets part of the Morningstar. So basically just have song 1, song 2, song 3, song 4, next page, song 5, song 6, song 7, song 8. And then each page I have the ability on each page I have the ability to go back to MIDI. So and then in that case, each preset for a song is literally just MIDI clock. So right now I have this is the sound, which doesn't like launch a preset. It just literally just sends MIDI clock. So, press song 1. Right. Song 2, we're doing from the inside out. Song 3 is In Christ Alone. Song 4 is Son of Suffering. So, it's basically using the presets functionality of the Morningstar to provide MIDI clock and then kind of pretty standard level MIDI control over my pedals. So it's a cool workflow. Still learning the ins and outs of it on if I, to what degree do I like it? Is it more freeing or is it kind of more restrictive than the PVC? So yeah, not entirely sure yet, but I'm still currently learning it. Over on YouTube, a guy said, do you think it's better running a darker guitar tone into a brighter amp or brighter guitar gain into a warmer, darker amp? So I don't really like to change things much on the guitar end in terms of like tone. What I mean by that is I have, my slew of guitars. I'm not trying to make them sound all the same. We're going into my board. Some people will be like, oh, I have a Les Paul, then I have a Strat, a low output Strat, or a Jaguar, or Jazzmaster, Rickenbacker, or whatever, and they are kind of constantly riding different levels of gain going into the board, whether that's with the buffer or compression. I like letting the guitar kind of speak for itself, and so I'll not really change the core guitar tone to compensate for my amps or my pedals. I'll usually just kind of let the guitar be its thing. If it's slightly lower output, like my baritone or my Telecaster, then I'll just let it be slightly lower output. That's fine. It has its own texture and quality and qualities to it. So I'll do that. So yeah, I guess, technically the answer is most likely having both in the middle. So yeah. Yeah, that's how I'm running things. So, like a few examples. We have Son of Suffering. I would most likely have that use my tremolo verb. Would you recommend an HX Effects or HX Stomp for worship? mean, depends on what you have. Are you trying to use it just for effects or for amps or? I mean, it's pretty well known and well documented that I believe that anything can be used for worship. So I understand what you're saying, but use what inspires you. And obviously, I'm here. I'm here on the Summer of Tone journey. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, sure, you can use that. No one's making you not. Are your vehicles paid off or financed? Just wondering how to afford gear and bills at the same time. Dude, just have a good job. Have a good job and know when to allocate money towards things that are important. That's pretty much it. This was $600 out the door. That was it. Nothing crazy. And I messaged the guy on Facebook and I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. And he came back a few days later saying, "Hey, I'll actually take X amount lower." So I was like, all right, well, I had that money tucked away for something for a time such as this, and I picked it up. So to answer your question, vehicles paid off or financed. We literally just got my wife a new car, but her job is paying for that. So. I mean, you can think of it like this. Anytime a new piece of gear comes in, something else is likely going to be moving as well. Granted, at this point in my life, I don't really need to do that. It's more just like a peace of mind thing to know, like, hey, I'm not just acquiring copious amounts of stuff. Even though I technically am acquiring copious amounts of stuff. Yeah, you're welcome. And obviously, I'll say, well, to me, it's obvious. None of this was acquired recently. Like everything I have has been acquired over the last 20 years, right? So if you have a good job and you're even remotely okay with your finances and you're decent with your taxes, yeah, you can afford things. And obviously, some things are financed, some of my studio stuff. None of my guitar, well, actually, my Les Paul is financed, but that's about it. Nothing else is financed. Everything else is paid cash or trade, sell things to get cash to get other things and then sell some other things later. So yeah, we had a decent AMA today, some hot takes. I was quite surprised to see that not that many people knew what I was referring to when I was talking about CCM artists and worship artists. David, welcome to Wednesday Night Live, bro. David made a great video yesterday. I guess a few things too. So in addition to kind of doing this revision of the board in terms of MIDI control, also added some other drive pedals. So added the Daily Driver, which is a cool drive pedal. Daily Driver is pretty neat. I'm relatively new to that whole world. relatively new to that whole world, but it's been pretty cool. Sorry, I'm just some things. Yeah, that's what I'm using right now. I'm using the using with the volume up pretty much all the way, the gain at about 9 o'clock. But here's what it sounds like with the gain at noon and the volume about 3 o'clock. Nice. Yeah, so the protein is weird. I never liked the protein. No, for as much protein as I eat in my daily life, I didn't like the drive pedal. Did not like it. The daily driver is pretty neat. I like the boost a lot. So this is my clean tone. Well, my clean tone with this. It sounds different if I'm using my actual amps, but this is the boost. Right. Then obviously the daily driver. I think I'm still kind of preferring it with a little bit lower gain. This is it. This is the daily driver boost with both of them on together. Yeah, so that's cool. In addition to that, I have the Nobles ODRC, or not Nobles, the Nordland Noble ODRC. Actually, just recently changed my settings on. I had kind of worked the knobs a little bit to make it less Nobles-y, and I ended up just wanting to go back to it being pretty more Nobles-y. So gains about 9 o'clock, volume's about 3 o'clock. Spectrum and mid are right about noon, and the other controls are down. So it's more Nobles-y right now. All right. After that, I have the Aspen by Case Study Effects. Yeah, so, doing that kilt thing, right? After that, this is not in order of sickle chain, by the way. Have the King of Tone, and one of the cool things that I did with the King of Tone a few months ago was I sent it to Analog Man to do the 4-jack mod, which is basically gives you each channel, each side of the King of Tone can be used independently. And so that's cool to me because I can use the left side before the right side, if that makes any sense. So normally when you'd plug it in, you plug your guitar into the right side, it would come out the left side, it'd be red side into the yellow side, right? However, I prefer having the yellow side before. So the signal chain currently is guitar goes into board, blah, 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 goes into the daily driver, then it goes into the Nordland. Actually, no, that's not true. Where does it go? Sorry, I'm trying to remember exactly where I'm going. I want to say I go from the... Where am I going? That's what... Oh, gosh. That's what's happening. Okay. So guitar goes from daily driver into the King of Tone yellow side. After the yellow side, it goes into the Nordland ODR, then to the Aspen. After the Aspen, it goes back into the red side, then goes into the KTR. So a cool application for that would be like, daily driver, boost. Okay, so you have the boost. I want to go into the yellow side of the King of Tone. But maybe after that, I want to go from the daily driver into the Nordland, right? Okay, and then, but instead of me wanting to add additional saturation before it, which would be the yellow side, maybe I want to add saturation after it. So then I just pump in the red side. So it's just kind of a cool way to get slightly different textures. If I were to boost the signal going into the Nordland, it's going to be a slightly different driven sound. It's a little bit smoother because you have more signal going into the Nordland, whereas if I have gain coming after it, it's a little bit more aggressive, right? So that's kind of a cool little tip I found. So if you have a King of Tone that has the 4 input mod on it, try some pedals before it, try some pedals after it, just to, see how it sounds. Sorry, I missed some questions. Let's see. Oh, your tones got tons of low end. Yes. Yeah, I do. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Most of my guitars are pretty bright, so I don't mind it. Gamato SOFC. Sorry, I'm butchering your name. Sick, bro. Yeah, I like the blue side of the Pro Team about the green. Really excited for the DD. Nice. Yeah, it's cool. Aspen is nice. Recommendation for a King of Tone alternative. Honestly, dude, just find a Prince of Tone. Prince of Tones are still not that expensive. Go find a Prince of Tone. And worst case scenario, buy 2 of them. Easy. Crisis averted. Can't go wrong, King of Tone. Fat Drive Tone, yeah. Do you do your own guitar setups, or you got a guy? I do have a guy who does anything that I don't want to do, which is honestly most of the time nowadays. Guy's name is Mike Ned, and he's awesome. He's up here where I'm at. But I have just enough knowledge to know how to do like neck relief stuff. Actually, when I got the Tele, I also bought one of these truss rod adjustment little Allen wrench things for Fender guitars, so I can do that now too. I do like it as long as I have time to do it, So I don't mind doing that kind of work. Yes, the Prince Tone is the same. Yeah, it's one side of it. So in theory, in theory, if you bought 2, say if you found 2 for $200, or if you found a pair of 2, both for $200, and you're paying $400, that's still a lot less than what you'd be paying for on the used market for a King of Tone. And honestly, I've just not heard any other Bluesbreaker style pedals that just sound as good as the King of Tone. Doesn't mean you need to get one. It's just that, I have the King of Tone. I've had it since 2011, 2012. So I'm like, dude, if I've had it for 12 years, I'm not going to go try something else because I already have it. I have the good thing. Sorry, these are new strings, so it's going to be a little wonky. Oh, speaking of tuning or strings, other thing I got was I originally wanted to get one of those Callahan posts for the Bigsby where you don't have to like wrap the strings around. You can't find them anywhere, so I ended up just buying one of these Vibramate little clamp things, and it's awesome. It's great. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So and that was like, I think it was like $20. Yeah. Yeah, this guitar's cool, man. I'm really really liking it. So yeah, so in terms of back to the King of Tones thing, if you can find a Prince tone, get it. It's great. And if you can get two, get two. They're awesome. I had a Prince tone years ago. Um, Thoughts on the MEQ driver? So I never got a chance to try one. That was what I was looking at before I got in touch with Schnobelton. Yeah, don't have much else to say about it. I wanted to try. I was actually looking at the DCX, whichever one, because I was looking for something to kind of replace the RC booster. And honestly, the RC booster is great. I still might put it back. I was at a point though when I was redoing my board, I wanted to just maximize space, and the easiest way to do that is to have everything with top jacks. Have you ever talked about how you do your in-ear mixes? I just got a GoPro to start making content, but I'm curious how you do it. Yeah, so I like a pretty rockin' band mix. So, I have a lot of drums. Have a good amount of bass. I mean, honestly, I have a good amount of everything. Drums are kind of panned accordingly, and I prefer to have drums panned like how it would be if I was playing drums. So, overheads, if I'm playing, blah, 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 this overhead is going to be my left. This overhead is going to be to my right. Low tom is to my right. High tom is to my left. Snare, all that kind of stuff. Hi-hats a little bit over to the left. That's kind of how I prefer to do it. Yeah, I like energy in my mixes. One of the things I hear with guys who are making YouTube, or no, not YouTube videos, guys who are making in-ear videos is like the mix sounds kind of anemic, not really all that terribly inspiring. And that was one of the reasons why I opted to not do the in-ear video thing and do my own, multi-tracks, mix them down, and all that kind of stuff. In terms of click, I have click quite low actually. So I like having click to at a level to where I can we're basically where it's audible if we're off. If that makes any sense. I have a pretty good sense of time, and so I have just enough click to be able to hear it when I need to, and not really have to think about it if the whole band's playing. Vocals are below the band, basically. I have enough vocals so I can know kind of where they're at in the song. We play tracks and with guides and all that kind of stuff. And even if I'm flowing, I have my talk back up enough to where I can kind of cue the band to go around. In terms of guitars, I like my guitars stereo left and right, loud and proud. Our other guitarist, I tend to have him a little bit favored to the right side. Not in terms of panning, but in terms of level. So his amps are full stereo left and right. His left side is down probably about 6 dB, and his right side is maybe about 3 or 4 dB quieter than my right side. Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Cameron, you want your inner mix to sound like a record? Yes, dude. Especially if you're making content, bro, your mix it needs to sound good. It shouldn't sound weak and flimsy. Lopez said, get the audio files from front of house and blend it with your in-ear mix. It'll sound way better. Yeah. So the other thing I also do is obviously, for my videos, I'm going to make sure that my guitar is a little bit more upfront compared to everything else, just for the sake of content, right? But I really do enjoy just kind of mixing, and I really do enjoy the process of actually getting it to sound, even getting the vocals to sound. I like hearing a good band mix in my videos, even if my guitar is not the focal point, right? So, obviously making sure the vocals are good, vocals are kind of panned accordingly. I don't like anything other than my guitars to be hard left and right, and my keys hard left and right, even overheads like on drums, I want them to be maybe like 50% to the right, 50% to the left, and kind of have everything kind of carved into like a space. That way, guitars can fully envelop the hard left and hard right. That's what I found that works for me, and obviously making sure that your in-ears can handle all that information. In terms of EQ, on guitar, I have high pass and low pass on both my channels. High pass is set to about 150, which is pretty high. And then low pass is set to like 6.5K on both guitars. Yeah, that's a good idea too, man. It's not, and honestly not that hard. So I mean, if you use Final Cut Pro, you can literally just get your live stream mix, toss the video in there with the audio, separate it, and then just sync to your video recording. Super easy. And then we don't have to hear your click in your guide. That's the most annoying thing. Yeah, I mean, the 150 rule for me is, it's kind of arbitrary. It's actually mostly just so that my guitar can be kind of cut through in my ears a little bit more. You know, so for instance, I have it on the actually, hold on a second. Where am I at? So actually on the Quad Cortex, I'm also doing the same thing. So right now I had a high pass filter at 80 hertz. I'm going to bring it up to 150. And then actually the low pass filter was actually at 7K. So let me do that. Both. Okay, yeah. So this is both at 150 and 7K. All right. Wow. New strings. Cool. So then if I were to turn that off on both channels, this is what it would sound like. So honestly, not that much of a difference. Honestly, the low pass is kind of not all that necessary. I mostly did that so that I didn't have any kind of harsh frequencies. Mostly on my match list. That amp tends to have quite a bit of high end. It also ensures that I'm not competing with like high keys stuff or high track stuff. It kind of just, allows the guitarist to sit in a nice little mid-range spot. Yeah. Low pass is right at 100, no low shelf, yeah. You got a roller bridge on that bad boy yet? No. If I do get so the most likely next step is actually going to be to get a Tune-o-matic with a roller bridge, and then maybe do something with the nut. Yeah, I actually have some of that nut lubrication stuff too as well. So yeah, there's, like I said, it was a cheap guitar with pretty decent specs. So it'll be fun to work on and have a good time with. So all right, y'all, I'm going to play us out. Thanks for joining me on this beautiful Wednesday for Wednesday Night Live. My name is Jimmy. Do this every single Wednesday. Ideally, sometimes I don't, but most of the times I do. And we live stream on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to hear us in full glorious stereo, head over to YouTube. And otherwise, I will see you guys on the next one.